Hi, welcome to my channel, Life with Annalise. I am going to take you on a tour around my greenhouse and share with you some of my plants that I have in here. They are thriving and they love their home. I do too. So let's get to it. As I take you around, you're going to realize what kind of plants I am absolutely in love with and what plants I propagate pretty often as well as sell. You guys remember this string of hearts? It's the variegated version. I actually propagated this about a month and a half ago, or even 2 months. Once I got the hang of propagating these, it's actually not too bad. If you haven't watched my video, watch it. I can share with you guys my link. It's a lot of trial and error at first, but as you can see, they're all thriving now. These are propagations. I also have my hanging air plants in here. I'm kind of just hiding it in a corner so it's not burned. We will be getting temperatures of high 90s here, so I did tuck some of my plants in under the shelf so it's not going to get too much sun exposure or burn. My lovely moonstones in my whitewashed terracotta pots. These are also propagations. Down below I have what I call my variegated string of hearts mother plants. I did tuck them under this shelf so there's not too much sun exposure. I was thinking of watering down my greenhouse. I'll probably do that in a little bit. That way it's going to cool down and not have the heat stress out my plants so much in the greenhouse. I have a very little fan, which doesn't really do much in this kind of temperature. My greenhouse does have an auto vent. I have equipped my greenhouse with sunshades above, but the heat is just so extreme. My variegated string of pearls. These are the lovely roses that I have propagated. I also have like a large tray that I'll show you in a bit. These are my regular string of hearts that I also propagated in these pots. I have one here that is pretty interesting how there's no variegation on here. It's just green. Similar to the Orange River, but it's not an Orange River. This is an Orange River. It's more pointy. The shape, in my opinion, is very similar to the string of spades. Only again, it doesn't have that variegation like string of spades. And the string of hearts, it really does have like a heart shape leaf. More Orange River. Down here I have more propagations of string of turtles, lovely rose, my PVN crested, variegated string of hearts. This is the pot that my daughter propagated. There were a lot of tubers for variegated string of hearts planted in here, but somehow a lot of it went reverse in variegation. My peperomia Jenny. I'm not sure why it's kind of lost the pink edges, so I placed it in an area where it's going to get less sun and see if the pink comes back. This is my pink Panther Propagation. My 3 lovely rainbow. They're Echeveria genus, and it's just so gorgeous. I don't think that I am catching the color the right way on the camera. It's just very neon pink tone, especially this one. It's so pretty, the color. My Superbum, Nadia. I did a video on Nadia and my Echeveria rainbows. She's really special to me. I do have a lot of regular string of hearts hanging in my greenhouse. My moon dust is doing really well in the greenhouse. I used to have it sit outside and it was struggling, losing the blue color, and when I took it in here, he thrived, got his blue color back. This is a hybrid between the Laui and I believe Lilacina. That's why you see the thickness of the leaves, but then it's also pointy like the Lilacina. And then my variegated string of hearts. I have to admit that these are the one plants that I probably invest so much time in tending to, and it has paid off. I have so many 4 inches that is available now to purchase. If you are local in NorCal, it's available. Message me on Facebook. You can see that there are so many growth. The top is full and they are trailing. Let me just pick one up so you can see. And look at the pink on this. The light exposure is a little bit much in my greenhouse. It's getting a lot of morning sun, but it is very pink. The variegation is prominent. And let me pick this one up for you guys. Do you see that yellow leaf with no chlorophyll? If it gets enough sun exposure, it'll turn more pinkish tone or it'll stay this way. Look at how much it's trailing already past the pot. I've taken a couple inside the house, and the pink, it's fading a bit. So I think I'm discovering that they need more sun, even though inside my house I get a lot of sun. But they do like it out here. Maybe it's the heat and the sun combination that helps it maintain the pink tones and variegation. Just gonna leave it here. They're kind of growing on top of each other, and I'm just allowing that to happen. I'm okay with it rooting into another pot. They're just growing so many baby leaves that I'm not too worried getting more plantlets in here and it being full. These two trays over here, it's not as full because I propagated them later than the first two trays, but it's doing really well. I see a lot of new growths. Here is one that is very interesting. I can see so many pink babies coming out. Let me get a better shot here. Do you guys see all that? It's like clusters of pink leaves. My hunch is, despite this empty spot, it'll fill out because of all these baby plants. And it's going to be amazing because of the pink leaves coming out here. Place it back in. That's my little fan that I mentioned. And I did place 3 mother plants here to kind of experiment because it's so full and white. I wanted to give it a little bit more sun exposure on the shelf so it can turn more pink. Look at this leaf right here. It's so white. I'm just gonna bend this over so you guys can see. I love how full the top is and can't wait until it starts to trail over. Look at this. The sunshade I mentioned earlier. I don't think that my plants and I can survive without these sunshades. They've reduced a lot of heat and harsh sun rays coming into the greenhouse. We put them on about 6 or 8 weeks ago because even in temperatures of 80s, it was just getting too much in here, especially heat-wise. My string of hearts did trail a lot more than this, but I noticed that as it trailed, the bottom leaves were getting tiny, and I didn't like that. So I gave them all a trim. They flower so much. I can't tell you how many hours I was in here trimming off all the flowers. But look at, with all the sun exposure that it's gotten, the leaves have turned pink. And this is the regular string of hearts. The back of it has turned pink. I think this one shows the most. Look at how pink the leaves are. It kind of reminds me of the ruby cascade that I have in the house. Alright, you guys, that was my update of all the plants that I store in my greenhouse. Let's stay connected.